Hey up everybody and welcome to Wednesday Waffle. This is where I get to waffle on about my favourite subject of running, and hopefully one or two of you might actually pick up a little tip or trick that I've learned along the way. And today, as I promised last week, I'm going to show you how I organise and plan my running week schedule. Now, I've got to say first, this is my schedule. Obviously, your schedule would be completely different. This is what suits me for the goals that I'm aiming for. And for somebody to copy this, it might be either too much work, not enough work, work in the wrong areas. So the reason why I'm showing you this is I'm just showing you the method I use so that you can adapt that to plan your own weeks to suit your goals with your own abilities. So now we've got that out of the way, the other thing to mention is some of the words I will take time to explain, and apologies to all the UK audience that I have, but looking at my YouTube data, there's a lot of people from all over the world that are actually watching this. So if I come across a word that I'm not sure will translate properly, I'll spend just a little bit of time to explain that out. So here we go then. So here's my little board that I prepared earlier. And we can see along the bottom, we've got as Monday through to Sunday. And at the top, we've got different kinds of runs that I want to include. And the way I work with these different kinds of runs, different kinds of training, different kinds of areas, if you want to call them that. When you're exercising, there's three states of exercise. You're either gaining fitness, you're either maintaining fitness, or you're losing fitness. And it's a simplified version, but if I do one of these areas twice over a 2-week period, me personally, I'll consider that as gaining fitness in that particular area. So just to be clear, the threshold session, if I do a threshold session twice over the 2-week period, then because I've repeated it over a shorter amount of time, then I'll consider that as gaining fitness in the threshold area. If I only include it once, then that would obviously be maintaining. And if I don't include it at all, obviously that's losing fitness in that particular area. So switching to the other camera, what I'll show you now is how I plan my week. So I will pick things in order of importance. And the main important thing to me, and everybody's different, you might find other areas important to you, but the actual long run for me is number one. And for me, the long run will always be on a Sunday, unless I have to move that for some bizarre reason. But for me, Sunday's a long run. So I'm going to put that here. That way. There we go. Long run, Sunday, easy as that. Now, to me, a long run is 90 minutes as a minimum. I do try to include some kind of harder efforts in the long run, whether that's actually going faster or slower on flat ground or doing a hilly route, so I have to actually put some work in on the inclines. That's the kind of thing I'm aiming for. The second area that I'd concentrate on, and I've got to be honest with you, it's something that I'm just recently getting back into because I have slacked off from it, is the strength and conditioning. That is number 2. And I've got to try and work out how to do a number 2 here, which will be that. Upside down writing. Yeah, I'm trying my best. Hope it's not mirrored. So, what I tend to do with my strength and conditioning, I'll do my heavy strength work on the days when I'm working hard. And that means that my easy days and my rest days stay easy and rest days. So Sunday, is hips and legs. That's where I use weights and that kind of thing. So strength and conditioning goes on a Sunday. For hips and legs, I'll just put my H and L there. Yeah. And then what I want to do is I do this twice a week. And to keep the distance nice apart, what I'll do is I'll put that on a Wednesday. So I'll put my strength and conditioning, and that's hips and legs on a Wednesday. So that's the other thing that's set in stone. Number 3 on the list is a park run. I do love my park runs. Park runs are on a Saturday. But the beauty of a park run is we can use it as part of us training. It doesn't always have to be an all-out session. Currently at the moment, I have been using them for that. I've been using for an all-out high-intensity VO2 max session with me 5K speed block that I'm doing. But previous to that, I've used them for progression runs because a lot of them have got handy kilometre markers. I've used them as almost like a sandwich in between a long run. So I'll do a run before, park run, and then a run afterwards and bulk the miles up. So we'll put park run here. Top's coming off. Just put that down. Park run. I've had to do that separate because it won't fit on the same one. The next thing that's really important to me is the sessions, the session days. And I really try to keep my session days apart from each other. If I'm running hard one day, I don't want the following day to be a hard effort day. So looking at this, there's a possibility that parkrun could be hard. There's a possibility that I could be running hard on a Sunday. So what I'll do is I'll use Tuesday as a session and Thursday as a session. But looking at the list we've got, threshold is my usual to do on a Tuesday. So I'll just put that there. I'll just put thresh because it'll fit. And then the short, sharp, nasty, painful intervals, they'll be on a Thursday, which will be VO2, we'll call it. So VO2. So the week's filling up now. Because I'm doing so much intensity, I do like to have a complete rest day where I do absolutely nothing. And at the moment, I've been using Friday. That can change. If I do a particularly hard day on a Sunday, then I've got the option of a Monday for my rest day. But for now, I'll just put rest on a Friday. Rest on a Friday. And Monday, I have been doing, it's a favourite thing I do. I've got into the habit of it. It's involving hill sprints or hill strides, should I say. So what I'll do on a Monday is I'll do an easy run. At the moment, I'm doing 5K easy, and then I'll go to a local hill that's quite steep, quite tasty, and I'll do 800-metre hill strides with walk recoveries. And then when I finish that, I'll do another 5K easy. The important thing with the hill strides is to remember they are strides. What I'm aiming for is to open up that gait cycle. I'm trying to shake out all the fatigue from the previous week, ready to start the next day. There's a few reasons why I'm doing it. And when I'm doing the strides, I'm aiming for consistency. So I don't want to go dashing off really hard and fast on my first one and then completely run out of steam and the later ones getting slower and slower and slower. As a general rule, I tend to stick about the low 20s, 21, 22 seconds, give or take. but again, consistency is key. So I'm going to put the hills strides there. So I'll put the hill stride. This is weird having to work my head backwards. So as you can see now, we've got the hill strides, we've got the VO2, we've got the long run. We've got easy runs that are filling in. The second one I've got to put, I've just realised something actually looking at that. So on the Wednesday, the only thing we've got on there is strength and conditioning. And on a Wednesday, I've got a kind of easy run, but it does have quite a bit of elevation in. So it's an easy 60. So I'll put E60. 60 minutes, but that's hilly. I bet my writing looks atrocious from upside down. So let's look at what we've got now. So we've got hill strides on a Monday, threshold on a Tuesday. On the Wednesday, we've got an easy run, but with elevation, plus the strength, the lower hip and leg strength. Thursday's the hard and nasty interval session. Friday's a rest. Saturday's a part run, which again, I can use for either a hard effort or I can ease it off. And one thing that I do like to do, which is once every 5 weeks, I believe, at Grow Parkrun, is pacer events. And that could be pacing anything from 20 to 30 minutes, whatever people want me to pace is what I do. Then the long run Saturday. One thing that I do have to mention is I've got absolute non-negotiables with this. I'm 54 years old. I cannot just put some shoes on and go out the door and start running. I need to do some kind of warm-up and I need to prepare myself ready for pretty much any kind of running. And Monday through to the weekend, I always do my runs before work. So my alarm clock gets set really early in the morning. My eyes might be open, but my body is certainly still asleep. So my first non-negotiable is while I'm in this very kitchen in the morning and I'm getting myself ready, I'll do a lot of activations and drills just to wake my body up, to raise the heart rate a little bit, just to get the mobility, to prepare myself before I head out the door and start me running, my training. And I found that including that has transformed how well I get to do my training and how well I seem to recover as well, because going out and starting your run when you're prepared to do it isn't as damaging as just going out and trying to thrash out a session from absolute flat cold. The way I think about it in my own head is your body is the most efficient machine that you'll ever know, and it will not use an ounce of energy if it doesn't need to. And before exercise, for want of a better word, your body's in standby mode. So doing drills, doing a warm-up, wakes it up. And I'm not talking like super energetic, high intensity work. I'm just gently raising the heart rate and I'm moving certain muscle groups, just literally to bring it out of standby mode so that when I head out the door, I do feel as if I can move and run so much easier. So those will be, I'll include drills on that, because those will include A-skips in the house. Those will include high knee lift on chair step-ups. That'll involve lunges, forwards and backwards, side lunges, walking on tiptoes to activate the calves, walking on heels. There's so many things involved with that, and that'll happen every morning, without a doubt, non-negotiable. The other non-negotiable I've got is session days. I really put an extra effort into my warm up and my cool down, or warm down as it is. The difference between a warm up and a cool down to me, a cool down is when you just do something nice and easy to let the heart rate return to a lower level. A warm down is where you're actively doing different paces, and there's something that I like to call a lactic stride, just to help flush out all the bad stuff that's in the muscles from the hard intensity that I've been doing. So the Tuesday sessions, the Thursday sessions, the parkrun, and the Sunday sessions will all have a warm-up. That's a non-negotiable. I got a warm-up that I've kind of developed over time. I will actually cover warm-ups and show you what I do on a future Wednesday Waffle. But basically, it's starting off at a very, very light, easy jog, just to raise the heart rate a little bit on the UK Athletics ramp principle. And then I gradually increase my pace up to marathon effort. After a couple of minutes of marathon effort, I'll back right off to easy, to relax again, and then I'll do some strides. The strides that I do is the pace and intensity of the strides. It all depends on what is the following session. So if I'm going to do, let's say, a hard park run where I'm going to be trying to get a really fast, for me, park run, and the pace that I run a park run might be, excuse me a minute, in the 3 minutes 50 a kilometre range, then I will try and do my strides just a tiny little bit faster. The reason for that is so that when I start the park run, the actual run itself feels so much easier because I've just done a few strides at a slightly harder intensity. It's just a way that I find tricks my brain into thinking that running hard's a little easier. Likewise, with a Thursday threshold session, if I'm going to do threshold, which for me is, let's say, somewhere between half marathon and 10k pace, I'll do my strides at 10k pace, just so that when I do the threshold, it feels easier. Easy, simple as that. So we've covered drills, we've covered long run, we've covered the VO2, the hills, I've done my strides. I've got hills on my Wednesday run. Sometimes the Sunday long runs, I live in Wales, you can't escape it. I can't walk to the shop without hills. The thresholds are covered. The steady running, that's something I've not mentioned yet. A lot of people don't like steady state running. I'm a big fan of it. Any kind of running is better than no running. And the way I think about it is your body's got lots of gears or lots of energy systems, and working the whole range of them, to me, is beneficial rather than only picking one or two and deciding that maybe one in the middle will stay away from that. That's my personal choice. You yourself might find that, doing it that way might not suit you. So we've got everything on here now except for the core work, which, to be honest, you might find this a bit excessive, but I'll put core on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Thursday. And the reason for that is I've got a nice little routine, and it takes, I think it's about 14 minutes. I literally come in from work, get changed out my work clothes, do my little core routine, it's done. And because I'm repeating it a few times in the week, those 14 minutes or 14, 15 minutes, let's say it's 15 minutes, that's 3/4 of an hour over the whole week, just doing it those 3 times. That is how I build my week. And when I've built that week, if I just underline that bit, what I'd look to the following week is to do an ever so slight, either increase the intensity by just a tiny margin, or if there's any kind of recoveries, I'll reduce the recovery time. Something, just play around with it so that I get a very, very slow and gradual progression rather than just doing the same over and over and over. And that is basically how I build my week. So what I'd like to do now is hear back from you. How do you build your week? And would you consider planning it in the same kind of style I would? Obviously to suit yourself. Let me know in the comments. But for now, I'm going to sign off at this, and I'll see you.